Well guys, there is a lot of stuff on this table and most of it is completely unrelated. So what exactly am I doing here? Well, a lot of times companies will send over products for review or use in a build or just for me to check out. And I don't necessarily have a video that I could put those products into, something that will fit into my regular release schedule. So they just kind of sit on the shelf. But as a small tech channel who tries to stay at least fairly humble, I am not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, and I want to make sure that these products get their proper exposure. So we're going to take a quick look at all this stuff in this video. Because there is so much here, we are not going to spend a great deal of time on each item, but I did want to open everything up, get you some B-roll of the products, maybe go over its main features, and then we'll move right along. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 products to take a look at. So let's get to it. The first couple items that we're going to take a look at are two B450 motherboards that arrived actually fairly recently. This one from MSI is their B450i Gaming Plus AC, and they sent this over along with their Tomahawk. It's got a little checklist thing going on in here. Performance qualification. I guess they took this board, they put a Ryzen 7 2700X in it and a 1080 Ti, and they ran some tests. So I guess it works. So that's good. But this board was sent over along with their B450 Tomahawk. And while I was able to get the Tomahawk into a video the other day, this one I don't know that I necessarily have a specific use for, but I always love feature-rich mini ITX boards. I just think it's really cool how companies can pack this kind of technology into this small of a space. Let's get a little peel going on. All right. One thing that I don't necessarily like is maybe the red accents on the heat sinks, but that's a fairly minor point. Otherwise, this board looks like it's ready to rock and roll, and B450 has proven to be a really nice platform. The same thing with B350, just slightly upgraded, obviously. So it's entirely possible that I will be using this in a build in the future. I just don't have any immediate plans for it, and B450 came out now, I guess 1 or 2 months ago, so I don't want to just let this languish on the shelves, but there you go. MSI B450i Gaming Plus AC. Next one is the other B450 board. This is the B450 Aorus M from Gigabyte. This board, interestingly enough, was actually supposed to be what I used for my August build, which was an entry-level video editing system. However, it got delayed in shipping, and it wasn't any fault of Gigabyte's. And as a result, I had a specific film date that I had to basically, it was go time. So I ended up using an Asus board instead. And then this got here, I'd say 3 days later. So now, unfortunately, I don't, again, have a specific use for it. But this was supposed to be for August's monthly build. And again, small form factor, B450, fully featured board, M.2 heatsink. Looks really nice. Got a little bit of orange accent on it as per Gigabyte's MO, I suppose. But again, gonna try to find a home for this in the future. But right now, no specific plans. So if you have a build that you'd like to see me use this in, suggest it down in the comments and maybe we'll try to make that happen. And I guess that kind of goes for any of these parts. If you have a specific purpose or a specific build or a specific test you'd like to see me run and maybe would make for some interesting video content in the future, be sure to leave me a comment down below and maybe we can make that happen. I'm always looking for interesting video ideas, and the more content that I could bring you guys that you specifically want to see, the better. So let me know. Next, we got a couple products from FSP. These actually arrived quite a little while ago. This is their 240 watt CPU air cooler is all it says. Does it have a model number? Yeah, AC602. I actually used this in a case review video where I built with this and ran some preliminary testing. Ooh. but I haven't had it out of the box since then. It's got a nice all black matte finish heatsink, which is really substantial and fairly heavy. And then this is a white LED fan that attaches in a really peculiar way. And I'm not going to go through all the parts right now, but it's got like little rubber nubbins that you push through, and I mean, I've seen that mounting solution before, but that's not typical of what you see from manufacturers as the only mounting solution to get this onto the heatsink. But if we look at it like that, I guess it looks pretty good. But yeah, this is definitely a more premium feeling and performing heatsink than most like regular tower style coolers, like the Hyper 212, which everybody knows, and things similar to that. Even better heat dissipation and higher TDP rating than the Cryorig H7 Quad Lumi, which is one of the better ones on the market. So again, maybe I'll get this into a build in the future, but I have so many air coolers that I don't know exactly when that might happen. But this from FSP looks pretty cool. And then I have their Hyper M85 Plus 550 watt bronze power supply. The cool thing is about this power supply is that it is partially modular, and FSP's stuff, because they are generally an OEM for other companies, their direct items are actually usually far less expensive than comparable products from other companies. So while this is not clearly a premium power supply, it's got, the ketchup and mustard cables and whatnot, it is still partially modular. It is 80 plus bronze, and it is going to be cheaper than a lot of options from maybe even like Corsair and EVJ and stuff like that. And I'll leave a link to all this stuff down in the video description. And given that I don't know the exact price of this unit, I hope I'm not far off with my assessment, but in previously looking up FSP's power supplies, that's kind of the way it's gone. So I would assume the trend continues. But I did have a little bit of an issue with an FSP power supply that I put into Project Baron, but since then I've actually used their stuff in a number of builds, and it's totally solid. Like, that might have just been a bad unit, or for some reason had some issues, so I'm not particularly worried about that. But the Hyper M85 Plus 80 plus bronze partially modular power supply from FSP. All right, this is the Okinos RC1402 cooler. This is a twin tower style air cooler, and it's from Reven. Reven got in contact with me a couple months ago and asked me if I wanted to take a look at some of their products, and this was one of them. And this was actually a cooler that I was pretty excited to look at because, I mean, look at this thing. It's got a really premium feel to it with the finish on top of the heat sinks and the Reven logo cut into them. Everything feels really well built, and these heat pipes are enormous along the bottom. And then it comes with 1, 2 fans. There's another fan that's in a box in there. But the biggest issue that I had, let me get this out of here. Come on. The biggest issue that I had was actually that the fans are yellow. Not necessarily that they're poor performers or loud or anything like that, but just specifically that they are yellow. And I would need to find a yellow build for this to be something that's workable, and I haven't yet. But again, this is definitely something that I want to put into a system at some point, because it does look like it's gonna perform. It's gonna be a serious piece of machinery, and that's it. That's the Reven Okinos RC1402 cooler. Pretty neat. The last cooler we'll take a look at is from Aigo, or AIGO, or however you say it. They make, I did not know, but they make AIOs as well. This is their Ciroc T240. It uses their Aigo fans, which actually I really liked when I did my testing for the RGB fan roundup. And I would imagine that they use some other OEM block design. Let's get this out of the box here. So the hoses are just rubber which not a huge fan of at this point. I think I'd like to see fabric, but you know what? I don't actually recognize this pump. So maybe it's their own, but it's probably like a lesser known OEM manufacturer that supplies pumps and stuff like that. I think this is a Chinese company, so likely it's something that I've just not heard of or seen before, but the block looks a little unique. And then we've got two of their really cool looking ring fans, and I'll light these things up in some B-roll, but just a regular 240 AIO, which should provide you some decent thermal dissipation. I wonder if they actually comment on the TDP in here. Oh no, it opens like a map. Oh god. Never getting this thing closed. No, this is just install instructions. Yeah, alright. Oh god, help me. But in any event, the good thing is that this is all white. So all the LEDs on both of these fans are white, and obviously the unit's all black. So this will go in any build, and I guarantee you that I will find a home for this. This is definitely something that I will be using at some point for some build, something like that. But this is definitely really cool, and thank you to iGo for sending it over. Last thing on the table here is this set of Corsair peripherals, and to be 100% honest with you guys, I'm not entirely sure if Corsair sent these to me or if I just bought them. It could very well just be the latter, because ever since I saw these at CES, I was really anxious to get my hands on them, and I have tested all these for probably about a week, and I could tell you that the Darkcore RGB SE mouse feels phenomenal. Like the weighting on this, the size of the mouse, the shape, the textures of everything on here are just outstanding. Like I loved using this mouse. Unfortunately, the battery on it is not that great. So in order to make sure that you have a charge, you have to make sure that you're charging it all the time or whenever you're not using it. And one of the best ways to do that is with the MM1000 mousepad, because you could just toss it on the Qi charger. And I try to avoid cable clutter on my desk if at all possible. So having another USB cable running back behind all my other stuff that I already have on the desk is not ideal. Also, the surface on here was not my favorite. It's a hard surface mouse pad, and I generally prefer cloth or like a rougher cloth. So this whole setup didn't work for me just for that reason. If I could get this mouse and just have it with regular batteries, regular AA's or something like that, because my Logitech G602 uses AA's and it lasts for 6 months or something. I don't even know how long. I would switch. Like this mouse feels that good. It is really, really nice to use. Similarly, the K63 keyboard, something I was really excited about because it's Cherry MX and I can get it in reds and it's wireless. And the less wires that I have on my desk, the better. Using this, it felt like a Cherry keyboard. It has dedicated media keys. It worked really well. The problem is that it doesn't have a number pad, and I am not a 10 keyless guy. I need my number pad for editing and data entry and stuff like that for spreadsheets. So unfortunately, I could not keep this on my desk. But once again, this was just a really, really solid feeling peripheral. And you put these two together, and that's one hell of a setup as long as the batteries hold out. So I definitely recommend these. If you're gonna buy into this whole ecosystem and you toss the mouse onto the Qi charger every night, I would recommend these wholeheartedly. All right, last thing. This is the last thing and why it was on the floor. This is another product from FSP. This is the CMT 520 case. I took this in a couple months ago now, and unfortunately, again, haven't had time to review it, but I did want to get it out of the package for you guys and just show you what it looks like. So here it is. We've got tempered glass on the side. We've got tempered glass on the front. I think this actually is built off of the same chassis as so many other cases are now, which is the Mean at 5 p.m., the Rosewell Conan, that chassis, that OEM chassis, which a lot of manufacturers seem to be just kind of piggybacking off of, and it's kind of why I've stopped reviewing cases that use that chassis, because I've already done 2 or 3 of them already, and for the majority of them, 90% of the layout and everything is exactly the same. The front panels are changed, the fans are changed. FSP includes a let me show you guys, a fan controller back here. It's underneath these wires, and it's magnetic, so that's kind of cool. But for the most part, everything about these cases is almost identical. So I tend to shy away from doing these reviews, but that's not to say that this is a bad product. It's just that I've reviewed it already, and it comes with 4 very, very funky looking fans. Let's get this off of here. Come on. And another thing is, this really drives me crazy. That this is attached. Let's see if I can swing this around so you guys can see these fans. But those are crazy looking fans, like a million blades on those things. I assume they're RGB because they're clear blades as well. There you go. There is your case review. This is the FSP CMT520. So not going to do a full review on this, but it looks okay. It looks like the Rosewool Conan and you know, the AI crystal and all those. So I assume it's probably fine. The airflow looks a little restricted, but you know, because we're not going to build in here, I don't know that matters. But there you go. There's your case review. There's your very professionally done, very thorough case review of the FSP CMT520. So guys, I know this video was a little random, but I hope you enjoyed at least the small amount of information that I was able to give to you through these mini micro reviews. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it in the future, which I'm not sure why you would, make sure to let me know down below in the comments or leave a like or something like that. Get subscribed to the channel. There's some really interesting stuff coming that I can't really yet talk about, but I'm sure you guys can speculate. And if you want to support us directly, make sure you check out the merchandise store or consider supporting on Patreon. Both of those links are down below, as are links to basically all of this stuff. So if you're interested in buying any of it, you could find those links down there. Those are Amazon affiliate links, just FYI. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I will see you next time.